We welcome our viewers around the world. In prior videos, we have explored poverty as a global challenge, particularly in Nigeria, Ghana, and Cameroon. Today, we explore a hidden cost of poverty that goes beyond hunger or shelter. It is silent, invisible, and deeply biological, the effect of poverty on the human brain. This episode uncovers how economic hardship changes the way the brain grows, thinks, and even feels, and what societies can do to reverse it. For these countries, a catastrophe is in the making, and action is urgently needed to lift their people out of poverty. Please subscribe, like, and share. The learning objectives are on your screen. We uncover how growing up poor doesn't just limit opportunity, it can change the very biology of the brain. We'll explain how the brain's stress system, the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, reacts to hardship, why millions of children in Nigeria, Ghana, and Cameroon remain out of school, and how that affects learning and innovation. You'll also learn about proven solutions, from nutrition and early education to community programs that build resilience and hope. Across the world, education is becoming the new currency of global competitiveness. Nations that invest in their children's brains today will lead in innovation, health, and prosperity tomorrow. But in West and Central Africa, especially Nigeria, Ghana, and Cameroon, millions of children still grow up under the shadow of poverty. Many face hunger, overcrowded classrooms, poor nutrition, and chronic stress before they even reach primary school. When poverty disrupts brain development, it silently lowers the nation's future capacity to compete in science, technology, and the knowledge economy. In a world driven by artificial intelligence, biotechnology, and digital literacy, this becomes a biological barrier to progress, not just a social one. According to the Harvard Center on the Developing Child, the human brain develops faster in the first few years of life than at any other time. But when a child is born into poverty, the conditions for healthy brain growth are often missing, such as nutritious food, safe environments, stimulation, and sleep. Studies show that children from low-income homes can have 6 to 10% less gray matter in areas responsible for language, memory, and decision-making. This loss of gray matter is irreparable. Think of the brain as a city under construction, but the workers have no tools, no materials, and constant power outages. Living in poverty often means living under constant stress such as homelessness, hunger, insecurity, and unsafe streets. This stress triggers the body's alarm system, the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, a central stress response system, thereby releasing high levels of cortisol. When cortisol stays high for months or years, it becomes toxic, damaging the hippocampus that stores memory, and the prefrontal cortex that guides judgment and self-control. The result: difficulty concentrating, learning, or managing emotions. It's not lack of intelligence. It is biology under siege. By age 3, children in poverty may hear up to 30 million fewer words than their wealthier peers. A gap that shapes vocabulary, reading skills, and confidence for years. Without early stimulation, talking, reading, playing, the brain circuits responsible for communication and reasoning remain underdeveloped. Schools often try to bridge this gap, but by then, the architecture of the brain has already been shaped. Our viewers are encouraged to view our video, Nigeria's Broken Classrooms, the crisis in primary and secondary schools. Nigeria alone has the largest number of out-of-school children in the world. Ghana and Cameroon have made progress, but still face wide rural-urban and gender gaps. These are not just statistics. They are signals of unrealized human potential, of minds that could heal, design, or discover, if only given the chance. We quote from the UNICEF 2023 report in Nigeria. In Nigeria, 26% of children of primary school age are out of school. At the junior secondary school level, the percentage of out-of-school children drops to 25%, and at the senior secondary level it increases to 34% of children. Let us turn our attention to Ghana. In Ghana, most children now start school. However, poverty still decides who stays. Only 1% of the richest are out of school, compared to 16% of the poorest. By upper secondary, that gap widens dramatically. Nearly 1 in 3 poor children drop out. Poverty still shapes the classroom, the brain, and the future. In Cameroon, the richer you are, the farther you go in school. Almost all children from wealthy families finish primary school, but among the poorest, fewer than 1 in 4 do. By upper secondary, completion nearly disappears for poor children. Proof that in Cameroon, education still follows the path of income, not potential. Across West and Central Africa, millions still miss school. The gap widens with poverty. In Nigeria, over 1 in 4 children never enter primary school, and nearly half drop out by secondary. Ghana performs better with about 7% of children out of school, though poor and rural youth still face barriers. In Cameroon, primary attendance is strong, but by upper secondary, more than half of students are gone. The lesson is clear: access alone isn't enough. The parents, government, and society must help children stay, learn, and complete their education. As countries compete for the jobs of the future, nations that fail to invest in the cognitive and emotional development of their younger citizens risk being left behind. The race is no longer only about infrastructure. It is about intellectual infrastructure, nutrition, neuroscience, and nurturing. To build a generation that can think critically and compete globally, we must protect the developing brain. From the womb to the classroom. Ending child poverty is therefore not just moral, it is strategic, the foundation for Africa's place in a fast-changing world. Poverty doesn't just affect how we think. It affects how we feel. Children raised in hardship often show greater activity in the amygdala, the brain's fear center. They become hyper-alert, anxious, or easily frustrated. Survival instincts tune for danger, not for learning. Over time, this emotional strain shapes personality and relationships, leading to greater risks of depression or aggression later in life. The effects of early poverty don't end with childhood. Adults who grew up poor are more likely to struggle with memory, mood disorders, substance use, and even dementia. Chronic stress can alter gene expression through epigenetic changes, meaning the impact of poverty can echo across generations even when living conditions improve. But the story doesn't have to end here. Evidence shows that early childhood interventions with proper nutrition, preschool education, parental support, and mental health care can repair and even reverse much of the damage. Every amount of money invested in early childhood yields up to 13 times in social and economic return, through improved health, education, and productivity. To break the cycle, nations must see poverty not only as an economic problem, but as a public health and brain development emergency. In summary, a society's future is built inside the minds of its children. When we fight poverty, we are not just reducing numbers, we are shaping neurons, nurturing potential, and healing generations. Education is the first step toward transformation. The learning objectives have been met.
We hope you enjoyed this video presentation. If you found this presentation informative and educational, please give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing and sharing with family members, friends, and colleagues. Your support helps us create more informative and educational content. Until next time, stay strong, stay hopeful. This has been a presentation of Opomulero Media LLC.